You have nothing left to give, and this guy's trying to murder you.
Jake Paul did, he's trying to survive, he's not trying to engage. And so therefore, it's your job to cut him down and catch him up.
Go
You've been looking at
yourself. Wait, what? He told me he wanted to raise $40 million.
The boxing world just witnessed something absolutely insane. Logan Paul is now threatening to sue Anthony Joshua after his brother Jake got completely destroyed in the ring. We're not talking about some typical internet drama here. Joshua's knockout was so brutal it left Jake with serious injuries, and Logan is scrambling to find lawyers. Everyone from hardcore boxing fans to casual viewers can't stop talking about what this means for Jake's future, Joshua's legacy, and whether YouTube stars should even be stepping into professional rings.
There's no worse feeling in the world. It's horrible. You can't.
Anthony Joshua just delivered the ultimate reality check to both Paul brothers, and their legal threats are looking pretty ridiculous right now. While Logan tries to act tough behind a computer screen, Joshua already made his statement with his hands. Jake's shattered jaw tells the whole story about what happens when internet fame meets real heavyweight power. All that YouTube hype just got exposed as complete nonsense.
Dando de, oh, él es esto, él es aquello, él es, dije, pero ¿por qué te preocupas por lo que ha hecho alguien más? ¿Qué has hecho tú como luchador para aumentar tu ego? Pero no pudiste responder.
Here's what Johnny Nelson pointed out that everyone needs to understand. Jake Paul spent years fighting opponents who basically let him look good. None of those matches actually prepared him for what real boxing feels like. Then Anthony Joshua stepped in and gave him exactly the lesson everyone knew was coming. This wasn't just a loss. Joshua completely dismantled the illusion that Jake had any business calling himself a boxer. The whole world watched Jake realize his previous fights meant absolutely nothing.
Anything for his career, for his bank account, everything. For his development. I don't think he did anything for his development because he didn't have somebody in front of him that wanted to test his development.
Duke McKenzie didn't hold anything back when talking about Logan Paul's embarrassing attempt at boxing. Everyone could see he was completely out of his depth from the opening bell. His whole approach looked like some kind of YouTube stunt instead of actual fighting. This is exactly why serious boxers treat him like a joke. Logan's performance was what people in boxing call a complete disaster, showing zero understanding of what the sport actually requires.
They said, and everybody knows, he's not a real boxer. There's levels to this game, and he was way out of his level, way out of his depth.
Eddie Hearn went straight at Logan Paul for acting like a reckless child throughout this whole situation. Even before anyone threw a punch, Logan was pulling typical internet personality moves instead of showing any respect for boxing. The entire thing felt designed to create controversy and get clicks rather than compete seriously. This just proves how disconnected he is from legitimate fighting, putting on what can only be described as a completely embarrassing show.
It is, what was it, about an hour ago, so I guess everything's calmed down a little bit. I thought it was a bitch move, if I'm honest, because anytime...
Check this out. Logan Paul thought bragging about his brother's broken jaw would somehow make him look tough, but it completely backfired. Now everyone's laughing at how desperate and foolish he sounds. His tough guy act got exposed as childish nonsense, and fans are calling him out for being completely ridiculous. Joshua didn't just beat Jake, he humiliated both brothers and proved that internet fame gets crushed by real boxing skill and dedication every single time.
But I just pissed him off, then he broke my brother's jaw. Broke his jaw, huh? Yeah, he split his jaw.
Yeah?
You don't care though, Jake's having a fucking blast.
Carl Frosch absolutely destroyed Jake Paul for turning professional boxing into some kind of circus performance. His exaggerated reactions and constant theatrics proved he doesn't belong anywhere near a professional ring. This goes way beyond normal fight promotion. Jake created a complete mockery of the sport. Joshua tore him apart in real time, leaving Jake looking completely foolish and making everyone question whether he should ever fight again.
Javier Wardley now has won the fight fair and square because that's the decision. That's the referee's final decision. Wardley wins the fight. It is now mandatory for Alexander Usyk. What is he going to do against Alexander Usyk? Where do we go from here? Alexander Usyk, the undisputed.
Jake Paul finally had to face the truth after Joshua's devastating knockout. That broken jaw isn't just a physical injury, it's a symbol of what happens when social media hype crashes into elite-level boxing. Joshua didn't just win a fight, he completely embarrassed Jake and showed the entire world exactly how limited YouTube fighters really are. Fans watched a brutal wake-up call that no amount of internet theatrics could hide.
It's definitely
Adam Smith captured exactly how ridiculous this whole situation really is. Watching Logan and Jake Paul try to compete against world-class fighters is questionable at best. Having millions of social media followers doesn't magically give you boxing skills or ring intelligence. Joshua dominated Jake so completely that it raises serious questions about whether these matchups should even be allowed. Fans are left wondering if YouTube personalities have any place in professional boxing.
It just shouldn't happen. But we don't know. As with all these things, there's always a grey area, isn't there? But
Johnny Nelson explained the harsh reality check Jake Paul just received perfectly. Joshua didn't just defeat him, he completely humiliated Jake by exposing the enormous difference in their abilities. When Jake admitted afterward that he was completely destroyed, it showed how unprepared he really was. This fight revealed the true limitations of internet boxing and reminded everyone why genuine training, discipline, and experience separate real champions from social media personalities.
You've got to make this kid have a reality check. And that's what he actually did, because Jake Paul himself said, I was shattered. You know, this guy...
Simon Jordan breaks down what everyone else already figured out. While Jake Paul keeps creating content and generating buzz, Joshua demonstrated the massive difference between putting on a show and actually having skill. Everyone except Jake and Logan understood what would happen. This wasn't just entertainment for the crowd, it exposed the reality about YouTube fighters and confirmed why Anthony Joshua stays at the top of the heavyweight division in every way that actually matters.
Netflix have got some wonderful content, and Jake Paul runs around doing what Jake Paul does. So everybody wins, and only the people that don't win are the people that go, well, look at it. And even the people that think Anthony Joshua is a busted flush now go, well, that proves the...
Here's what analysts noticed about Jake Paul's game plan. He spent most of the fight running away and trying to wrestle instead of actually boxing. Joshua's power forced Jake into pure survival mode, constantly backing up and using desperate tactics. This fight showed the enormous gap in experience and strength. Fans witnessed a complete mismatch, with Jake getting embarrassed in front of millions of people, proving YouTube stars can't hang at this level.
Just run. But generally, you know, the game plan was to run a lot, hold whenever he had to. He dropped his knees for a fucking takedown there quite a lot.
Duke McKenzie isn't pulling any punches here. Joshua's performance was more than just a victory, it was a devastating education for Jake Paul. That shattered jaw represents the gap between internet celebrity and genuine boxing ability. Logan Paul could only stand there helplessly watching his brother get completely schooled. Both Paul brothers got exposed as amateurs in front of the entire world, and their attempt to compete with an elite heavyweight was pure fantasy. Joshua put on a clinic, demonstrating why hype can never substitute for proper preparation, years of experience, and natural power.
Anthony Joshua did that too, because now he won't be able to talk like he does for a while.
Shannon is absolutely right about this. Joshua versus Paul was a complete athletic mismatch from the start. This went far beyond just betting favorites and underdogs. It was a fight that demonstrated the massive gap between manufactured hype and actual reality. Jake Paul's abilities and background were completely outmatched by Anthony Joshua. Fans watched an elite heavyweight absolutely dominate a YouTube personality who was just trying to survive until the final bell. Some people wondered if it might be staged for entertainment value, but the reality was painfully obvious. This was legitimate boxing. Joshua's size, technique, and accuracy made the skill gap clear with every single punch. Each jab and combination reminded everyone watching why Joshua dominates his weight class. This fight was more than just a win, it was a declaration. A reminder that championship-level boxing and internet celebrity exist in completely separate universes. For Jake Paul, this was a brutal education, and for fans, it was simultaneously shocking and captivating.
Joshua versus Paul, this is silly. This is the sporting mismatch of my lifetime. The odds don't reflect that. There's a big gap, but it's not the most mismatched betting line in the history of sports. And the reason for that is not because there's a secret underground belief in Jake Paul's boxing. It's because there's a segment of the public that believes that this is a work, that this is scripted, that this is entertainment, that this is wrestling. I'm very confident those people are wrong. I'm just sharing with you that that is why you don't have 20,000 to 1 odds, which is what this match truly is.
Duke McKenzie captured it perfectly. Jake Paul simply had no answer for Anthony Joshua's dominance. Every time Jake tried to engage, Joshua's size and strength completely overwhelmed him. Multiple times throughout the fight, he went down without even taking a clean shot. This wasn't about being clumsy. It was a harsh dose of reality. Joshua's power, technique, and boxing IQ left Jake completely helpless. Fans watching couldn't believe what they were seeing, witnessing the difference between a legitimate world-class athlete and a YouTube content creator. Social media went crazy with reactions, as everyone shared their thoughts on Joshua's control and Jake's struggles. The mismatch went beyond just physical advantages. It was technical, psychological, and tactical. Every missed opportunity by Jake to connect with anything meaningful showed the enormous difference in skill level. For viewers, it was shocking, mesmerizing, and brutal all at once. Joshua's display made it crystal clear that championship boxing and entertainment promotion exist in different worlds, and Jake discovered that truth in the most painful way possible.
Once or twice he fell to the floor without being hit, because Anthony Joshua was just so much bigger than him, and he couldn't cope with anything really. Couldn't cope with Anthony Joshua's jab. He couldn't cope with the size difference. He couldn't cope ultimately with the power.
Eddie Hearn got it exactly right. Joshua connected with 4 or 5 clean shots on Jake Paul in just the opening round, and Jake barely reacted. That wasn't bravery. It was a complete demonstration of superiority. Joshua's perfect timing, accuracy, and devastating power were on full display for everyone to see. Fans around the world were posting their shock on social media, completely stunned by what they were witnessing. Joshua's controlled confidence stood in perfect contrast to Jake's overconfidence and manufactured hype. This wasn't simply a victory. It was proof that Anthony Joshua stands alone at the top of the heavyweight division. Every connection highlighted the enormous gap between a world-class fighter and a social media celebrity. Jake's bravado and promotion completely fell apart under Joshua's systematic destruction. This fight became a masterclass in power, technique, and ring awareness, leaving fans amazed while showing exactly how outmatched Jake really was.
Jake really was.
Him 4 or 5 times early in the first round, flush, didn't even flinch. You see that tonight? That was an absolute abomination, if that is even a word, because that is a monster. The #1 heavyweight in the world. He gets in the ring with
Ariel Helwani perfectly.
The footage says everything. Joshua's reach, strength, and precision were absolutely frightening. Every shot he landed carried genuine knockout power, and fans could sense the intensity both in the arena and online. Jake Paul flinched with every impact, understanding he had no way to match the raw athleticism and skill facing him. Joshua's right cross and left hook were devastating weapons, and Jake couldn't defend or respond effectively. This fight transcended normal competition. It was a harsh lesson about the difference between elite fighters and YouTube celebrities. Joshua's accuracy, speed, and control turned the bout into a spectacle that had fans both amazed and concerned. Every strike reinforced why he leads the heavyweight rankings. It was unforgettable, intense, and a crushing reality check for Jake Paul, demonstrating to everyone that legitimate boxing has no tolerance for hype or showmanship.